Welcome back to the finale of What If Anakin Never Lost His Arm. Thank you to all of you who watched the first two parts of this video. To recap what happened in those episodes in the event you haven't seen them, Anakin and his arms had captured Dooku until the Sith could escape to his home planet. After investigating the person who had helped Dooku to escape, the trail had led to Chancellor Palpatine, much to the anger of Anakin. Now the Jedi returned from a detour to Mandalore after Senator Amidala gathered evidence against the Supreme Chancellor. The coldness that Anakin and Obi-Wan had felt upon the departure of Mandalore continued all the way through to their journey back to Coruscant, and landing back by the Jedi Temple, the scene is one of utter chaos. Palpatine had somehow managed to escape, having sensed the Jedi closing in on him, and Yoda and Mace Windu were organising for a way to capture him. But as they approached the Republic military base to gather the clones from their barracks, the echoes of Palpatine's voice executing Order 66 reverberate across the galactic city. The Jedi are unaware of what the order meant, but it could only mean trouble, and igniting their blades, they are quickly forced back to their temple. As if the clones were insufficient for Palpatine, the dreadnought of General Grievous suddenly cast a shadow over the city, and from it, several droid landing crafts emerged, alongside the starfighters of Grievous and Ventress. Yoda stepped out of the temple entrance, and stretching out one of his wizened hands, he moved two of the Separatist crafts into each other, then confronted the two assassins. Yoda was not concerned about the presence of Ventress, but had heard gruesome stories about Grievous, so manipulating Ventress's movements with the Force, Grievous looked bemused, until he found two red lightsabers through his torso. The cyborg had been blinded by his power, and Yoda merely pushed the body of the fallen Jedi killer with the other droids, allowing Ventress to make an escape. But despite this small victory, the Jedi were rapidly depleting in their number, and Anakin and Obi-Wan knew that they had to eliminate Palpatine to stop the massacre. Yoda agreed with the two Jedi, and with Mace Windu, they travelled to Mandalore, where they had previously felt the ominous presence in the Force, leaving Plo Koon and Saesee Tiin to stop the reinforcements in the skies. On their journey, Obi-Wan receives confirmation that Satine was in danger, as the Duchess desperately pleaded for the Jedi to stop the onslaught that Palpatine was causing to her people. Upon their arrival to the planet, the Separatists had made their presence felt by dominating its airspace, clearly wanting for Mandalore to be one of their new territories, but the Jedi had other ideas. Going straight for the biggest dreadnought, Anakin managed to call off the attack in time to avoid the giant pulse generated by the powerful ion cannon, before they saw another ship sneaking from behind them. To the surprise of Anakin, it is Padme piloting one of the new prototype stealth ships, and the Jedi Order threat had dropped down to the ground before she was destroyed into 1,000 pieces. Despite the protests of Anakin, he is forced by the Jedi Masters to go and use the stealth ship to try and hand down Dooku, whilst Windu and Obi-Wan go to find Palpatine. Windu secretly knew that Anakin would be too conflicted in a battle against his old friend, and entering the throne room before Palpatine could kill Satine, he sneered at the presence of the two Jedi. Igniting his two lightsabers, he targeted Obi-Wan with a fearsome attack, but the Jedi Master somehow managed to deflect the barrage of strikes until Windu took over. The Master of the Order used the Sith Lord's hate against him, and pinning Palpatine to the wall, he disarmed him. Pointing his lightsaber at Palpatine, he arched his arm over his head and slashed the Sith Lord as Anakin arrived from his own Sith slaying. The clones around them quickly stopped their attack on the Jedi, leaving just the droids, which were either being moved aboard the droid control ship or on the secret Separatist base on Mustafar. Leaving his master to once again help to clean the destruction on Mandalore, Anakin joined Padme and Windu on their return to Coruscant, and the Jedi Master soon revealed that Anakin would be expelled for breaking the Jedi Code with Padme. Anakin was unmoved by his temporary expulsion, and arriving on Coruscant, the politicians formed a guard of honour all the way to the footsteps of the Senate building. Windu realised at this point that his decision to expel Anakin would be looked upon unfavourably by the rest of the galaxy, so returning to the council chamber, Anakin is shocked to hear that he was being offered a seat on the council, replacing the recently deceased Evan Peel. Like Obi-Wan, the council decided to ignore Anakin's marriage to Senator Amidala, as it had not altered Anakin's path of a Jedi, but they were still forced to rebuild after their purge, and Anakin would pass on what he had learned. That is it for What If Anakin Never Lost His Arm. If you enjoyed this What If, please like this video, turn on that notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.